The way you do anything is the way you do everything. That is a saying I've been hearing for years and years and years, but it's finally clicking in my mind a new meaning towards it. The way I see it is the energy you do anything with is gonna create the same type of vibe for those things. So let's say you're getting ready and you're rushing to get ready. Well, you're gonna have rushed results. But continuing with that, if you go and do your favorite things in a rushed way, you won't be able to enjoy it. You're gonna be rushing through it. You're gonna be doing your favorite things, but feeling rushed. And so it won't be so enjoyable. You'll just be feeling the rushed energy of that. So basically, whatever energy you do anything with is the energy you're gonna keep on receiving and giving out. So you're gonna be giving out that energy, you're gonna be receiving it back. Hi, I'm Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. If you saw my last video last week, you guys would know that I had to cut it short because I received some bad news. Basically, what happened last week was my dad called me. We knew that my grandpa's health conditions weren't great, but he had called me to tell me that I should book a flight and come home because he's going to pass soon. He ended up passing maybe like an hour later, and I was glad that I had filmed the video because I ended up booking a flight home anyway, just to go back for the funeral and be with my family and everything. And I wouldn't have been able to film, so I'm glad I had something for you guys, even though it was very short. That being said, I got to really observe different family members. I got to really be introspective, even though I was around a lot of people. When I had my moments to myself while being back home and while getting back here a few days ago, I did get to reflect on different things that I was observing and the energy that I was feeling, the energy that was around me. And that's what brought me to the topic of this video, is the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Because it's so true. I even heard it in a video today, maybe 2 videos actually. Like, I think a lot of us are really thinking about this topic of the energy that we put out when we do things. And I wanted to bring up a really beautiful example that I got to see when I went home for my grandpa's funeral. I went with my aunt, which is his sister. So she's my great aunt, but I call her my aunt because she's like the closest blood relative aunt that I have, because my parents have no sisters. So all of my actual aunts are married in, which there's nothing wrong with, but most of them have been divorced out and aren't very close to the family. I think I have one that has been married in and has stayed, but she lives pretty far away, so I don't really know her. But I do know my grandpa's sister, who is my great aunt, and she's very much taken me in as like a niece or a granddaughter, because I also don't have any grandmas left. All of my grandmas have passed, so she's my closest older relative that is aunt-like and grandma-like. And going back with her and just witnessing how she moves around through the world. She's 90 years old, super healthy, super happy, and she has such a full life. She fills it up with amazing activities, amazing people, and she has such a positive mindset and positive outlook, and everyone that meets her always brings that to her attention. Everyone is always complimenting her on it. And the funny thing about that is I saw that same energy in my grandpa. It was really nice to be with her and to see, you know, not the female version of my grandpa, but a part of him still being here and thriving in the world. But when it came to my grandpa, he was getting up there in years, his health was starting to fade, and it was his time to go. And I really radically accepted that. Yeah, I wish he could still be here. And I also accept that he was ready to go. But that being said, his sister was the same way. Like, I'm sure she's on her own journey and she grieves things differently, but also being 90 years old, you see so many people die. She's seen her husband die, friends, all those things. It's a different mindset that you have to have when you watch everyone around you eventually grow old and pass on. But I think she's always had this mindset where the energy that she puts out into the world is of love and kindness and caring. And I think a lot of my family members hold that energy. And so it's been passed down to me, of course, by nature. But I've also collected things along the way, as we all do, including her, everyone, where we get in our own heads, we get in our own egos, and we do the things that we do to cope. And for me, the way I tend to cope when I'm feeling insecure or I'm not feeling good enough or whatever it may be, is I tend to isolate myself. I tend to kind of shut the world off. I tend to guard myself. I tend to become an island unto myself because it feels safer. But it's just what I'm used to. It's just where I've always gone, whether it's in my head to go just dissociate and go in my head and be around other people but not be with them, or to just go into my house, my room, my place, and stay away from people till I feel ready to see people again. That's one way I tend to cope. but it always makes me feel worse. And the energy that I would say I'm putting out into the world, the energy I'm doing that with, is this energy of I'm alone and nobody wants to help me and nobody wants to be around me and nobody wants me and I'm a burden. And like I start to act like that. And when I act like that, it tends to push people away because, like I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if I'm existing in this energy of I have to protect myself, I have to do this for myself, then I'm gonna end up doing everything like that. I'm gonna be walking around the world like that, walking into the grocery store like that. People won't really notice me when I'm like that because I have this aura of don't look at me, don't pay attention to me, don't bother with me. And I think I've been existing in that energy more so the past month or two than I was maybe in the springtime. I think in the springtime I was really actively trying to open myself up to other people and be more loving, because when you're loving, you're lovable. And I was feeling that disconnect when I was back home. I was talking to my friend and I'm like, I just don't feel lovable. And when I took a step back to think about it, I was like, why? What makes me not lovable? And what makes people lovable? And I know this for a fact is that being a loving person makes you lovable. And I was like, I must not be very loving to me and to others. And that's not to say that I'm being unkind or like not loving people or whatever. It's just saying that I'm kind of closing off, holding it in. I watched that play out recently. I had a fear that by opening myself up to loving someone, they were just gonna leave me. And that ended up happening, but I didn't really open myself up fully. I was teetering between opening myself up and not, because I was scared. And in the holding back, it ended up pushing the other person away because it was sending confusing signals of like, do you want me? Do you not want me? Do you love you? Do you not love you? Are you okay? Like it was energetically sending confusing signals. And so of course I'm gonna manifest a confusing physical experience when my energy is confused. So going back to my aunt and seeing the way she operates in the world, with my family, with strangers, literally this is what got me. This stays in my mind. On our flight back home, on our way back home from Philly to California, I mean, I know Philly is home for me too, so on our way back to the California home, I watched her be grateful for literally everything. I watched her soak up every experience, be kind to every person that we interacted with, stranger, whatever, at the airport, to the point where she literally manifested us upgrading our flight seats on our connecting flight. We were in Houston and she went over to the counter to talk to one of the agents about getting a wheelchair at the California gate so she wouldn't have to walk as far. She can walk, but she just, you know, she's 90 years old and she can do this. So she wanted to sit back, relax, and then we would walk to the Uber place because they don't do wheelchairs there, I don't think, or I don't know, but we did walk there. She asked the guy, she ends up having a conversation with him, tells him about what happened, you know, she's on this trip because her brother died and this and that, and they were having just like a heart-to-heart. Two strangers having a heart-to-heart. And I noticed like the way she'd interact with people, she would touch people in like kind ways, not in like weird creepy ways, just like, you know, like a nice like pat on the shoulder or this and that. And I know for myself, when I'm interacting with anyone, strangers, whatever, I'm so like, because I have my own fears, my own OCD stuff, my own insecurity, whatever it may be, all the different things, I tend to be like this. I tend to be like, don't touch me, don't, you know, like don't penetrate my aura, like stay away. And no wonder why people tend to stay away. No wonder why I can't seem to feel connected 24/7 with everyone and everything around me, is because I disconnect, and I disconnect purposefully, but it's a subconscious thing that I am now becoming aware of. So for me, it makes sense that the energy I do anything with is how I do everything, because I'm constantly disconnecting, trying not to touch things, trying not to like connect to things. And then when I finally decide, oh, I want to connect, it's so hard because I'm not used to connecting. So watching her being so connected to everything and everyone and being so comfortable with that was really good for me. Anyway, going back to how she connected with the agent ended up really caring about my aunt, who he had just met. And he was like, what are your seats? And I knew when he asked us, he was about to upgrade our seats because we were all the way in the back, middle row, whatever. We showed him, he's like, oh, let me fix this. He goes over, switches us up to first row, not first class, but first row of like economy. And we had a complete row to ourselves. We could sit at the window seat, we could sit wherever we want. There was extra leg room. It was amazing. It was crazy. People pay a lot of money for those seats. We did not. And it was all because she made a connection with that guy, but she didn't only make a connection with that agent. She also made a connection with the other agent who was scanning our tickets. She also made a connection with me. I was bragging about her to both of the agents, being like, this lady is 90 years old. She's traveled to 72 countries. She boxes, she dances, she hula dances, she does arts and crafts every day. Like, she's amazing. I'm literally sitting there bragging about her. They're literally giving her the special treatment, and she's just sitting there like, yeah, here's all my love. It's just crazy, because when you are in that energy, everything conforms to give that energy right back to you. And for me, getting to experience it by just being with her was really great, because it let me know that that's all I really have to do. And I'm in such close proximity that if I just feed off of this type of mindset, this type of positivity, I can actually take it on for myself, pay it forward, just the way negative energy is extremely contagious. Same with positive energy. It can be extremely contagious, and we can affect people in ways that we don't even realize by just existing as ourselves, being who we are, and expressing ourselves most authentically as such. And although I do have my own personal things that I'm still working through, I tried to embody that energy yesterday when I went to the Snapchat summit, of being more open and more friendly and more okay with being in other people's bubbles and space, and having people in my bubbles and my space. And I got to watch how people were attracted to me. People did enjoy talking to me. People wanted to be in my company. I was able to banter and laugh and create connections with new people that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was in my I'm insecure, I'm not good enough, don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't connect with me, whatever type of energy that I tend to have, especially when I go to events where there's other like influencers, creators, whatever, people that I look up to or people that I would want to connect with. I tend to get even more closed off, because I'm like, oh, like they're just gonna think I'm weird. But instead I try to push myself to be more open, more kind, more interested, because what we know is the energy you put out is the energy you get back. So if you're interested in people, places, things, and stuff, that makes you interesting, and people want to know about you and you want to know about them, and then it's symbiotic, as opposed to being like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, I don't know what I like, I don't know. And you're just all like about you and your own insecurities, instead of being like, so who are you? What do you do? I'm interested in you. I want to know more about you. Tell me about yourself. So really what it all comes down to is us paying attention to the energy we are existing in. Your circumstances are going to reflect that, but the way you change them, we always talk about this, is through your state of being. What is the energy that you are feeling now within you? Where is it emanating from? Where are you operating from? Are you operating from your heart? Are you operating from your head? Are your head and your heart in coherence? We have to check in with ourselves and ask that. If our heart is our guiding light, and it is guiding our mind, and our mind isn't fighting it and resisting it, we're doing pretty well. But if we're having a war between our heart and our head, we are gonna have confusing, mixed message circumstances play out, because we're confused within ourselves and we are not on the same page. We have to be on the same page within, and then we're gonna see our heart's desires without. That's all I have for today. I'm so happy I got to share this with you. It's been a journey. It's always a journey, but I think the past few weeks, the past month or so has been really challenging for me. And I feel like I'm starting to come out the other side of that and feel a little more safe in my surroundings, which really means I'm feeling a little bit more safe in myself. I'm being more accepting of what is and allowing myself to change states internally and be patient with the external circumstances, because I know that things are always changing. The one constant in life is that everything is always changing. So if I just allow myself to stay grounded in the state that I want to exist in, everything around me is going to match that. And I had some signs of that yesterday. For example, before I end this video, I've been really wanting to expand out and sort of build a team for my social media work. And I put that out there last week, and I sent an email to someone who I was thinking might be able to help me, but I didn't hear back. And so I was like, okay, like, maybe they forgot. That's okay, that's fine. At least I put it out there, and who knows what will come of it. Maybe another opportunity will come. Well, I found out yesterday that that person had actually passed my information forward to some people who might be interested in being a part of my team or joining me to their team and this and that. And I was like, oh, so things are really working behind the scenes. The bridges of incidents are happening, and I'm not always gonna know it. I won't always know it, and neither will you. But if we stay in the state that we want to be experiencing more of, everything is gonna fall into place and happen exactly how it's supposed to. So I will see you guys in next week's video next week. I love you guys so much. Bye.